In the beating heart of South America lies a kingdom where earth and water have learned to dance in a coexistence of unique and ancient rhythm, a vibrant and untamed sanctuary baptized as the Pantanal. With each majestic flood, not only the landscape transforms, but the very essence of life which mutates and reinvents itself. Today you will delve into a story written by water, fire and time. This is the silent saga of the warriors of the Pantanal, a place where life does not ask permission to exist, but fights and perseveres in this living territory. Nature here breathes in extreme and dramatic cycles, sometimes submerging the earth under floods that engulf entire roads, other times exposing a parched and cracked soil that tests every step. When the waters rise, the world transforms into a vast current, and surviving means swimming against the invisible, dodging, stealthy predators and overcoming pressing hunger. When the relentless drought arrives, the sun weighs on the earth like a divine punishment. Scarcity presses hard, and only the most resilient manage to continue. Here, true strength lies in adaptation, in silence, in reading the subtlest signs of the landscape. Every animal carries engraved in its body and instinct the memory of ancient battles shaped by an eternal cycle of destruction and rebirth. In this constantly and dramatically transforming environment, aquatic hunters of absolutely impressive efficiency stand out. Among them all, the jaguar stands as one of the most formidable amphibious predators, possessing a bite whose power exceeds that of any other big cat. Meanwhile, the green anaconda, one of the largest and heaviest snakes in the world, uses masterful camouflage and infinite patience to strike with crushing force. In the rivers and lagoons, the cayman, the oldest predator in the Americas, dominates with silent ambushes and jaws of formidable resistance. For their part, piranhas compensate for their small size with coordinated pack hunting and razor-sharp teeth. Get ready, because some facts about these extraordinary animals will deeply surprise you, revealing why the Pantanal is an absolutely unique place, something that only those who follow this documentary to the end will be able to fully understand. Fleeing from these formidable hunters are great symbols of South American fauna. Among them, the capybara, which lives in social groups and uses swimming as an effective escape route. The giant anteater, a creature specialized in hunting ants and termites, defends itself with incredibly powerful claws. In addition, we find the agile Pampas deer and the intelligent Coatis, which protects itself in boisterous flocks and explores both the forest floor and the heights of the trees. In this brutal and unpredictable environment, prey and predators coexist in a tense and delicate balance, disputing every yard of territory while the landscape transforms between floods and droughts. These periods redefine escape routes, hunting strategies, and survival itself, making only the most adapted manage to resist the relentless and eternal cycle of nature. In the skies of the Pantanal, a separate spectacle unfolds at every moment, where dozens of bird species transform the horizon into a true and vibrant stage of life and movement. Dazzlingly colored macaws cross the sky in noisy and synchronized flights. Jabirus glide with majestic elegance, exhibiting their imposing presence. Hawks observe everything from above, tirelessly searching for any hunting opportunity, while herons, spoonbills, and vast flocks of waterfowl follow the ancestral rhythm of floods and droughts. To complete this wild adventure, the rivers and flooded areas of the Pantanal hide a silent and powerful universe inhabited by hundreds of fish species that sustain all life in the region. Among them are the feared piranhas, small, agile, and with razor-sharp teeth, which hunt in packs and command deep respect. One of the largest freshwater fish in South America that navigates these waters is the gilded catfish, a true river giant, strong and almost invisible in the murky depths. Meanwhile, the pacu is known for its strength and varied diet, being essential for seed dispersal in riparian forests. Other fish also stand out, not only for their environmental relevance, but for the deep cultural value they carry. The pintado, an agile predator with spotted skin, is a true master of the currents and one of the great symbols of the Pantanal waters. Together, these fish demonstrate that beneath a seemingly calm surface, the Pantanal harbors a vibrant and powerful world, as intense and dynamic as the one revealed on solid ground. In today's adventure, you will discover how the Pantanal continues to resist, even in the face of devastating fires, human exploitation, and constant pressures that threaten its very existence, demonstrating why it is still considered one of the most alive and richest ecosystems on the planet. Between floods that renew life and droughts that push each species to the limit of its endurance, this wild land shows an impressive capacity for regeneration, which transforms the Pantanal into a true symbol of nature's resilience. Now that you have felt the force of this wild world, the time has come to help us grow this community, taking the voice of nature ever further and showing the world the greatness of our planet, where only true warriors manage to survive. To do this, leave a comment telling us where you are watching from. Give it some hype. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, hit like, and support this journey, helping to spread and strengthen everything that wild nature represents. It won't take you a minute and will ensure that our message reaches more and more people. Embark on this adventure in fantastic Pantanal, the silent struggle of the swamp warriors. The Pantanal is the largest continuous floodplain on the planet, a grandiose territory that extends majestically through Brazil, Bolivia, and Paraguay, covering an area of approximately 57,915 square miles. But it is in Brazil where this epic narrative gains its most intense and vibrant chapter. About 80% of this biome beats on Brazilian soil, mostly in the states of Mato Grosso and Mato Grosso do Sul, where nature writes a spectacle every day that no fiction would even dare to imagine. This is a region shaped by an ancestral ritual, the cycle of floods and droughts, a precise and powerful movement of nature that throughout the year completely transforms the landscape. Where before there was solid groundwater mirrors emerge that reflect the sky. Where silence reigned, life explodes in a roar of activity. In the Pantanal, all species had to learn to swim. From the smallest rodent to the largest predator, water imposed its silent and sovereign rules. Capybaras glide with astonishing naturalness through the currents. Caymans dominate the rivers as if they were extensions of their own bodies. Jaguars swim great distances, hunting in places few dare to reach. Even terrestrial birds and marsh deer developed strategies to face prolonged flooding, seeking elevated refuges or crossing flooded areas without the slightest hesitation. Here, swimming is part of the identity of those who live in this aquatic ecosystem. Every flood works as a relentless test, separating the adaptable from the vulnerable. Rivers multiply, lagoons are born, fields are flooded, and forests resist, forming a living and constantly transforming mosaic. From this delicate balance springs one of the most extraordinary biodiversities on the planet, a continuous spectacle written by water and sustained by time. The name already reveals its secret. Pantanal comes from Pantano, which means flooded lands, waterlogged soils, a place where water is present as a protagonist for much of the year. It is a simple word, but loaded with profound meaning. This dynamic makes the biome one of the most productive ecosystems in the world, functioning as a natural nursery for countless species and regulating the climate and water flow in much of South America. The force that gave rise to this natural spectacle is something that goes far beyond what we imagine and will surprise you. The Pantanal is the result of a slow and deep geological process, shaped by the immensity of time and the patience of the Earth. Its origin is linked to the gradual sinking of a large sedimentary basin where over millions of years ancient rivers deposited layers of sand, silt and clay, forming a young plain in geological terms, with between 2 and 5 million years in its current configuration. It was sculpted by the constant repetition of floods and droughts that transformed the soil into a living and mutable space. The influence of the Andes was decisive in this process. The uplifting of the mountain range, which began about 40 million years ago, altered the relief and the course of South American rivers, blocking westward drainage and forcing waters to expand through the upper Paraguay basin. With the reduction of river speed and the accumulation of sediments coming from the mountain range, the Pantanal began to flood cyclically, becoming the largest wetland on the planet, a stage where the distant geology of the Andes still silently dictates the rhythm of the waters. To get a true dimension of the grandeur of this biome, the Pantanal is simply 10 times larger than the largest swamp in the United States, the Everglades. A difference that reveals the colossal scale of this natural sanctuary. Here, life unfolds like a great story written by water and instinct, where each character carries a unique mark. The Pantanal, despite occupying less than 2% of the Brazilian territory, concentrates one of the highest densities of wildlife on the planet, functioning as a true and pristine natural sanctuary. It is estimated that this biome harbors more than 4,700 known species, of which about 1,000 are animal species. There are approximately 650 bird species, making the Pantanal one of the regions with the highest avian diversity in South America, in addition to more than 120 mammal species, including large predators and herbivores. Its rivers and flooded areas sustain about 260 fish species, fundamental for ecological balance and the food chain. Reptiles and amphibians total more than 130 species, perfectly adapted to the extreme cycle of floods and droughts. The Pantanal harbors some of the largest populations of caymans and jaguars on the planet. It is a unique setting, shaped by the abundance of water, the large supply of prey, and an ecological balance maintained by millennial natural cycles. This coexistence is established thanks to the constant wealth of food and the dynamics of the environment, which favors efficient hunting, both on dry land and in flooded areas. Where large predators dominate the territory, prey need to exist in abundance to sustain the balance of wildlife, and in the Pantanal they are numerous and diversified. Capybaras, marsh deer, giant otters, tapirs, and countless smaller species occupy fields, forests, and flooded areas, forming the base that keeps the entire food chain of this extraordinary ecosystem active. The Pantanal is one of the main homes of capybaras, the largest rodents in the world, and offers exactly the conditions this species needs to thrive. With extensive flooded areas, calm water rivers, temporary lagoons, and abundant vegetation, the biome creates a perfect environment for the semi-aquatic life of these animals, which depend on water both to protect themselves from predators and to regulate their body temperature. During floods, they disperse across the flooded plains in search of food. In the dry season, they concentrate on the banks of rivers and bays, forming numerous and easily observable groups. This abundance makes the capybara one of the most representative symbols of the Pantanal fauna, playing a fundamental role in the ecological balance by serving as prey for large predators and directly influencing vegetation dynamics. They are highly social animals that live in large groups, normally with 10 to 20 individuals. But where there is more water and food, these herds can grow even larger, easily reaching 30, 40, or even more than 50 animals living together, organized in a well-defined social structure to increase protection and survival chances. They are excellent swimmers with adapted paws and eyes and nostrils positioned on the top of their head, allowing them to remain almost completely submerged while observing their surroundings. They are the largest rodents in the world, able to exceed 132 pounds and over 4.2 feet in length. A size that, combined with their aquatic adaptations, makes them perfectly suited to life in flooded areas. Capybaras maintain a surprisingly peaceful relationship with caymans, coexisting side by side on the banks of rivers and lagoons. Even though the Pantanal cayman, the region's largest aquatic predator, is an imposing hunter, the capybara is not its favorite prey, allowing these two species to share the same space without constant conflict. It is common to observe capybaras sunbathing, near caymans relaxing on the mud, or on islands of floating vegetation while the reptiles rest beside them. This coexistence is only possible because caimans prefer smaller or more vulnerable prey, leaving adult capybaras relatively alone. This apparent harmony demonstrates how the Pantanal creates a delicate balance between predators and prey. Capybaras and caimans share the same habitat, taking advantage of the sun's heat and calm waters. And even being species of such different sizes and strengths, nature found a way to allow both to thrive side by side, showing the complexity and intelligence of the Pantanal ecosystem. The Pantanal cayman, known scientifically as Cayman yacare, also called yacare tinga, is one of the most representative symbols of the largest continuous floodplain on the planet. Its population is considered one of the largest among the crocodilians of the world, with estimates indicating millions of individuals distributed throughout the Brazilian, Bolivian, and Paraguayan Pantanal. This astonishing abundance is the result of extraordinary reproductive efficiency combined with decades of conservation efforts that allowed the Pantanal cayman to rebuild its populations and resume its dominant role in the ecosystem. The female reproduces once a year, laying an average of 20 to 40 eggs per clutch, being able to reach slightly higher numbers in favorable environmental conditions. The reproductive period occurs at the beginning of the rainy season, generally between October and January, when the rising water level guarantees greater protection for the nests and better survival conditions for the hatchlings. The Pantanal cayman is the largest aquatic predator in the flooded regions of the Pantanal. Adult males can reach up to 8.2 feet in length and weigh over 660 pounds, commanding respect in any lagoon or river they swim through. It is a robust-bodied creature with tough, bony armor and a powerful jaw designed to exert extreme force at the moment of attack. But its true strength is concentrated mainly in its bite, capable of immobilizing prey with lethal speed and efficiency. The cayman possesses a bite so powerful that it equals more than a ton of pressure, comparable to the weight of an entire car, compressed into a single point, transforming its mouth into a true living weapon, capable of crushing bones in seconds. Although it is not the largest crocodilian on the continent, its musculature combined with the ambush attack strategy makes it a highly effective predator. Despite its impressive size, the Pantanal cayman has a well-defined diet. Its favorite prey are fish, young capybaras, waterfowl, and small mammals that approach the water. It uses a silent hunting strategy, remaining almost invisible underwater until the exact moment to strike, combining strength and speed in a decisive blow. The Pantanal cayman's adaptation to the biome's extremes is one of the most impressive among South American reptiles. During the flood period, when vast areas are submerged, caymans expand their territory, exploring new flooded zones, rich in food and suitable places for reproduction. In the dry season, when the water recedes drastically, many individuals remain concentrated in permanent rivers, deep lagoons, and remaining pools. In this phase, they demonstrate great tolerance to scarcity, reducing metabolic activity, and surviving long periods with less food availability. This behavioral flexibility guarantees their permanence even in the face of the most severe variations of the Pantanal environment. During the most intense droughts, the Pantanal cayman can use strategies such as staying in wet mud areas and moving at night to avoid excessive loss of water and energy. In reproduction, it synchronizes the egg-laying period with the rain cycle, ensuring that hatchlings are born when the environment offers greater protection and resource abundance. This direct connection with the pulse of the waters makes the cayman a true biological marker of the Pantanal. Its survival over thousands of years reflects the balance between strength, patience, and adaptation, making the Pantanal cayman not only a dominant predator, but one of the ecological and cultural pillars of Latin America. If on the one hand, caymans coexist peacefully with capybaras, sharing the same places to sunbathe, these giant rodents must always be attentive to the presence of the jaguar, the largest feline in the Americas, and the third largest feline in the world after the tiger and the lion. In the Pantanal, the jaguar finds one of its most important and preserved refuges, housing the largest concentration of the species in the wild in the world. It is estimated that the region sustains between 2,000 and 3,000 individuals, distributed over a vast territory where each jaguar occupies well-defined areas and moves silently and strategically. This significant population is only possible thanks to the abundance of prey, the constant presence of water, and the natural dynamics of floods that keep the ecosystem productive. The Pantanal jaguar is on average larger and more robust than the Amazon jaguar. The reason is directly related to the environment in which it lives. In the Pantanal, the abundance of large prey such as capybaras, deer, peccaries, and even caymans favors heavier and more muscular individuals capable of taking down strong and resistant animals. On average, the jaguar measures between 4.9 and 6.1 feet in length, not counting the tail, and can weigh from 154 to more than 220 pounds, with some individuals from the Pantanal easily exceeding that mark. This robust size, combined with extremely powerful musculature and an unmatched bite, makes the jaguar one of the largest and most formidable terrestrial predators in Latin America. Adapted to both forest environments and open and flooded areas, it dominates the top of the food chain with strength, precision, and silence, consolidating its role as one of the most impressive species on the continent. Unlike the Amazon rainforest, where dense vegetation limits prolonged pursuits and hunting usually involves smaller, more agile prey, the Pantanal offers open areas, riverbanks, and flooded fields that demand brute strength and physical endurance. Furthermore, the constant availability of food throughout the year reduces periods of scarcity, allowing Pantanal jaguars to achieve impressive body masses, frequently exceeding 220 pounds, something rare in the Amazon. This set of factors transforms the Pantanal jaguar into one of the most powerful ever recorded a predator, shaped by a territory where size and strength make the difference to survive and dominate the top of the food chain. The jaguar is known for possessing the strongest bite among all big cats, surpassing even lions and tigers when considering the force applied relative to body size. This extraordinary power allows it to easily pierce skulls and break turtle shells, something unique among felines. The jaguar does not eliminate its prey like most predators, which suffocate by the neck or throat. It attacks in a unique way, driving its canines directly into the skull or the base of the brain, causing almost instant death. This technique, combined with an absurdly powerful bite, allows it to take down everything from small animals to large prey protected by thick bones, making this strategy the trademark of a predator perfectly adapted to dominate extreme environments, like the Pantanal. This feline evolved uniquely to exploit not only solid ground, but also aquatic environments, making it one of the most versatile and feared predators in the wild world. Unlike most big cats, it does not avoid water. On the contrary, it swims with ease, crosses wide rivers, and uses flooded banks as hunting territories. Its strong paws, compact body, and powerful musculature allow precise attacks in the water, where it surprises prey, such as capybaras, caymans, and other animals that feel safe in this environment. This adaptation is a decisive advantage in the Pantanal, where the landscape constantly changes with floods transforming fields into channels and temporary islands. In addition, the jaguar maintains an essential ancestral skill climbing trees. This ability allows it to observe the territory from above, rest safely, store prey out of reach of other predators, and ambush animals passing below. In the Pantanal, where land, water, and vegetation intertwine, this combination of aquatic hunting and vertical dominance transforms the jaguar into an unbeatable predator, shaped to survive and dominate one of the most challenging environments on the planet. Its diet is incredibly diverse. It hunts more than 80 different species, from capybaras, deer, young caymans, monkeys, birds, and even fish, demonstrating impressive adaptability to the Pantanal ecosystem. Although the jaguar has an extremely varied diet, the capybara is among its favorite prey in the Pantanal. Abundant, large-sized, and closely tied to riverbanks, they offer a high energy return and fit perfectly into the jaguar's hunting strategy, which is fast, silent, and precise. In addition to the imposing jaguars that dominate the top of the food chain, a smaller and considerably rarer predator moves with determination through the flooded areas and waterways of the Pantanal. This is the bush dog, a secretive and rarely observed animal that uses swamps, floodplains, and dense forests as its natural routes. It is more active during the day, when it silently patrols the territory near water, exploring the dense vegetation to approach its prey unnoticed. Its diet is predominantly carnivorous, consisting of small to medium vertebrates, including rodents, birds, and other aquatic or semi-aquatic animals that are captured through sophisticated cooperative hunting. Unlike the large and solitary jaguars, the bush dog exhibits highly social behavior, living in organized groups where cooperation is absolutely essential, both for hunting and for protection and collective care of the young. It measures on average between 19.7 and 27.6 inches in length, with a weight varying between 13.2 and 15.4 pounds. It has a compact and low body, short legs, a dense reddish-brown coat, and a short snout, all adaptations that favor its locomotion in flooded and closed environments. In the more discrete regions of the Pantanal, it represents a silent and strategic piece of the ecosystem, acting almost invisibly, but playing a fundamental role in controlling prey populations and balancing wildlife. In the Pantanal, giant otters, also known as piranhas, emerge as silent acrobats of the water, gliding among rivers, lagoons, and channels with a grace that seems to defy the current itself. At about 6.6 feet in length, from the tip of the snout to the tail, and with an agile and muscular body, they are specialists in taking advantage of every curve and eddy, transforming rivers and swamps into true hunting and playing grounds. This extraordinary size not only makes them the largest otters in the world, but also extremely efficient predators, capable of catching fish, crustaceans, and small vertebrates with a strength and agility that surprise even the most attentive observers. Their long and flexible bodies, combined with webbing between their toes, transform the water into a territory where they move with unique speed and grace. They live in small family groups where cooperation is essential. Adults care for the young, teach hunting techniques, and protect each other, maintaining a bond that goes far beyond mere survival. Their refuges are strategic, built in fallen logs, burrows on the banks, and dense vegetation always close to the water to ensure quick and safe escapes. The relationship of these otters with the water is almost symbiotic. They swim with impressive precision, dive to catch fish and crustaceans, and use the rivers as communication routes and territory. In the Pantanal, these enchanting creatures remind us that aquatic and terrestrial life are deeply intertwined, and that even the smallest inhabitants play an essential role in the complex machinery of this ecosystem. Even agile otters, social capybaras, and even the feared jaguar must respect a true giant that glides silently through murky rivers, the green anaconda or sucuri. Considered the largest and most powerful snake in South America, with bodies that can exceed 23 feet in length and impressive musculature, this creature masters the art of patience and brute force. It waits for hours, sometimes entire days, hidden in the water or among riparian vegetation until an unsuspecting prey gets close enough. Its hunting technique is as simple as it is lethal. With a burst of speed, it wraps the victim in its powerful muscular coils, compressing every breath until movement ceases, completely guaranteeing a safe and almost silent capture. The green sucuri is also a born swimmer, using its robust body and smooth scales to move effortlessly through rivers and streams, making it almost impossible to perceive its stealthy approach. For the inhabitants of the Pantanal, it is a living reminder that even in an ecosystem full of formidable predators, there are creatures capable of dominating through power, patience, and precision, maintaining the balance of the waters and the constant tension between hunter and prey. In addition to large predators and better-known species, other mammals walk freely through the Pantanal, such as the Pampas deer. These elegant figures represent life in balance in the open fields of this vast biome. These deer graze in natural areas, taking advantage of the abundance of grasses, tender shoots and aquatic plants, which form the basis of their herbivorous diet, always synchronized with the cycle of floods and droughts. The Pampas deer population in the Pantanal is considered one of the most important in Brazil, as the region offers vast, relatively unfragmented natural fields, which are essential for their survival. Primarily diurnal, they usually live solitarily or in small groups, maintaining constant attention to their surroundings as they are part of the diet of large predators. Among their main natural enemies are the jaguar and the puma, as well as caymans in flooded areas, and occasionally the maned wolf and large birds of prey. In the Pantanal, the Pampas deer symbolizes the freedom of the fields, and the delicate balance between prey and predators being a fundamental piece in the ecological dynamics of this wild landscape. Another fascinating creature plays a vitally important role in the Pantanal. Anteaters roam fields, forests, and flooded areas as silent survival specialists. The most common species is the giant anteater, one of the most impressive mammals in the region, which can exceed 6.6 feet in length, counting its bushy tail, and weigh between 66 and 88 pounds. With its robust body, its peculiarly elongated snout, and its long flag-shaped tail, it moves slowly but with extreme efficiency when it finds its food. Its feeding habit is highly specialized. Ants and termites make up almost the entirety of its diet, being captured with a sticky tongue that can reach 23.6 inches in length, capable of reaching deep into termite mounds and anthills. Solitary by habit, the giant anteater prefers to avoid confrontations, but when it feels threatened, it can defend itself with powerful claws enough to scare off even large predators. In addition to it, the lesser anteater or tamandua also inhabits the Pantanal. It is smaller and more agile, adapted to both terrestrial and arboreal life, feeding on insects and resting in trees. Anteaters have poor vision, but an extremely developed sense of smell, which is essential for locating their food. This animal fulfills a fundamental role that often goes unnoticed, but is essential to the health of the entire ecosystem. By feeding almost exclusively on ants and termites, it naturally controls insect populations that without this specialized predator could multiply uncontrollably and cause imbalances in vegetation and soil. Each anthill explored represents a silent regulation, but with a profound impact on the dynamics of the environment. In addition, by opening termite mounds and moving through large areas, the anteater helps aerate the soil and redistribute nutrients, favoring plant growth and landscape renewal. In the Pantanal, where everything works in delicate cycles between floods and droughts, the presence of the anteater ensures that nature's small gears keep turning, maintaining the invisible balance that sustains one of the richest ecosystems on the planet. Another imposing mammal advances almost unnoticed through the dense vegetation. The tapir emerges as a true silent giant. It is the largest wild terrestrial mammal in South America, and it moves with calm and majesty among rivers, forests, and flooded areas. Being one of the most marked presences in this Pantanal ecosystem, it can exceed 6.6 feet in length and weigh more than 440 pounds. It has a robust body, strong legs, and a small flexible trunk that it uses skillfully to pluck leaves, shoots, and fruits. Its feeding habits are strictly herbivorous, based on a wide variety of plants, including aquatic vegetation, shrub leaves, and fruits that fall from trees, making the tapir an important seed disperser along rivers and forests. Solitary and reserved in behavior, it is usually more active at dusk and at night, using fixed trails that connect feeding areas with water where it cools off and protects itself from predators. Despite its considerable size, the tapir is an excellent swimmer and diver, using rivers and lagoons as effective escape routes. Its main natural predators are the jaguar, and to a lesser extent the puma, especially when it comes to the most vulnerable calves. Among forests, flooded fields, and open areas, coatis stand out as one of the most active and observable mammals in the biome. Belonging to the genus Nasua, these animals draw attention with their elongated body, thin and extremely mobile snout, and long ringed tail, which they almost always keep erect while moving. This characteristic posture acts as a visual signal that keeps the group together during their constant movements. Measuring between 15.7 and 27.6 inches in body length, with a tail that can exceed 19.7 inches, Pantanal Coatis weigh on average between 6.6 and 13.2 pounds. Despite their moderate size, they possess great physical endurance and agility, being able to climb trees with amazing ease and travel long distances in search of food. Coatis are highly social animals, living in groups that can gather from 10 to more than 30 individuals, consisting primarily of females and their young. Adult males tend to live solitarily, approaching groups only during the reproductive period. This social organization guarantees collective protection against predators and greater efficiency in finding food. During the day, groups roam the Pantanal floor, turning over leaves, logs, and roots with their snouts in an incessant and coordinated behavior. At night, they seek refuge high up in the trees where they sleep grouped together, reducing the risk of attacks. Communication among them involves varied vocalizations, body expressions, and the use of the tail as a visual signal. This group life transforms coatis into true soil engineers, constantly modifying the environment they pass through. The diet of coatis is extremely varied, reflecting their amazing adaptation to the Pantanal environment. Omnivores par excellence, they feed on fruit seeds, insects, larvae, arachnids, small vertebrates, bird eggs, and even remains left by large predators. During the rainy season, when the Pantanal is full of live coatis, take advantage of the abundance of fruits and invertebrates, playing an essential role in seed dispersal. By ingesting fruits and moving through large areas, they contribute directly to the regeneration of native vegetation. In drier periods, they show great adaptability, intensifying their search for animal prey. This dietary flexibility is one of the keys to their survival in an ecosystem marked by seasonal extremes. Despite living in groups, Coatis face various natural predators in the Pantanal. Jaguars, pumas, ocelots, anacondas, large birds of prey, and even caymans are among their main threats. The young are the most vulnerable, which explains the constant vigilance of the group. When they perceive danger, coatis emit warning sounds and quickly climb trees or scatter, confusing the predator. In extreme situations, they can act aggressively, using their sharp teeth and strong claws to defend themselves. Coatis play a role in controlling populations of insects and small animals, aid in nutrient recycling by turning over the soil, and are fundamental agents in seed dispersal. This set of ecological functions maintains the balance between plants and animals, directly influencing the health of the ecosystem. In the skies of the Pantanal, a spectacle occurs every day that goes far beyond simple flight. It is an explosion of colors, sounds, and movements that transforms the horizon into a living and pulsating stage. At dawn, flocks of hyacinth macaws cross the sky in pairs, their vibrant feathers reflecting the golden light and announcing the force of wildlife. Great egrets take flight in elegant silence, contrasting with the emerald green of the flooded fields, while roseate spoonbills display tones that seem to have been hand-painted by nature itself. The Jabiru, imposing and unmistakable, flies over rivers and lagoons as a living symbol of the Pantanal, dominating the air with its great wingspan. Kingfishers cut through the sky in a flash of metallic blue, diving with surgical precision, while capybaras and hawks patrol from above, attentive to every movement on the ground. During floods, cormorants, night herons, and maguari storks complete this aerial symphony, taking advantage of the abundance brought by the waters. In the Pantanal, the sky is a dynamic stage where each bird plays its role, creating one of the greatest and most beautiful natural spectacles on the planet. The Jabiru, also known as tuyuyu, is the symbol bird of the Pantanal. It dominates the skies and riverbanks, announcing the presence of life with its imposing silhouette. At up to 4.9 feet tall and with a wingspan that can exceed 8.2 feet, it dominates riverbanks and flooded fields with an unmistakable presence. Its immaculate white plumage contrasts with its black head and neck, marked by the characteristic red collar at the base of the neck, a powerful visual signal amidst the Pantanal landscape. The tuyuyu maintains discrete social habits, frequently being observed alone or in pairs, but during reproduction it forms large nests at the top of tall trees, which are reused year after year. Its diet is directly linked to water fish. Amphibians, reptiles, and small aquatic animals make up the base of its diet, especially during the dry season when the reduction in river levels concentrates prey more easily. Walking slowly through flooded areas, the tuyuyu represents the perfect connection between sky, earth, and water, depending on the flood cycles to feed, reproduce, and maintain its essential role in the balance of the Pantanal. The macaws of the Pantanal transform the sky into a true mosaic of colors and sounds, being some of the most charismatic and recognizable birds of this ecosystem. Among them, the large hyacinth macaw stands out as the largest macaw species in the world, with an intense cobalt blue plumage, a strong and curved beak capable of breaking extremely hard seeds, especially those of palm trees, which are the fundamental basis of its diet. It lives in faithful pairs, maintaining lasting bonds that are reflected in synchronized flights and constant vocalizations, a remarkable social behavior. Besides it, the red and green macaw and the blue and yellow macaw also inhabit the Pantanal, exhibiting vibrant combinations of red, yellow, and blue, adapted to life among forests, open fields, and flooded areas. These species use tree cavities for nesting and depend directly on environmental preservation to be able to reproduce. Intelligent, sociable, and highly adapted macaws play an essential role in seed dispersal, helping to maintain the plant diversity of the region. The toucans of the Pantanal occupy a special place among the region's birds, bringing color, sound, and movement to the treetops surrounding the rivers and flooded areas. Among the most common species are the toco toucan, the chestnut-eared aracari, and the red-necked aracari, all adapted to the riparian forests and more open woodlands of the biome. The toco toucan is the best known and also the largest of them, easily recognizable by its enormous orange beak with a black tip which can measure almost half the length of its body. Despite its heavy appearance, this beak is surprisingly light and functions as a multifunctional tool, aiding in feeding, visual communication, and even body temperature regulation. The toco toucan can reach about 23.6 inches in length, making it one of the most imposing birds in the Pantanal. Its diet is based mainly on fruits, which transforms it into an essential agent for local vegetation, since by feeding and moving through large areas, it disperses seeds and contributes directly to forest regeneration. Among the predators that dominate the skies of the Pantanal falcons stand out for their speed, precision, and efficiency in hunting, occupying a strategic role in the balance of wildlife. The aplomado falcon is one of the most emblematic in the region, easily observed in open areas perched on posts or isolated trees, from where it sets off on fast flights to capture small birds and rodents. The American kestrel, or kirikiri, the smallest falcon in the Americas, is also present, using its agility to hunt insects, small reptiles and birds, adapting easily to the seasonal changes of the biome. During certain times of the year, the Pantanal also welcomes the peregrine falcon, considered the fastest animal on the planet, which crosses the region on its migratory routes and uses the open fields as temporary hunting territory. In the skies and forests of the Pantanal, there is a winged predator that reigns in absolute silence. The harpy eagle, also known as gavião real, is the largest and most powerful eagle in Brazil. It is a rare presence that commands respect even before being seen. At almost 3.3 feet tall with a wingspan approaching 6.6 feet and colossal talons, it is a living force of nature built to dominate the top of the food chain. Unlike other birds of prey that patrol open fields, the harpy eagle prefers dense forests and riparian woodlands where large trees serve as a throne and cradle for its gigantic nests. From there, it observes everything in silence, waiting for the exact moment to strike. Its hunt is precise and devastating, targeting medium-sized prey like monkeys and sloths, which are captured with almost invisible efficiency. These predators transform the sky into a true invisible battlefield, where every dive is calculated and every attack is decisive. In the vast floodplains of the Pantanal, while capybaras graze peacefully in the flooded fields, a small character enters the scene and reveals one of nature's most fascinating relationships. The cattle tyrant closely accompanies these large rodents, perching on their bodies and performing a true cleaning symbiosis, feeding on parasites and insects that accumulate in their fur. For the bird, it is a constant source of food. For the capybara, a silent relief that contributes to its health. This simple, almost discreet encounter shows how in the Pantanal every species is connected to one another, transforming the flooded pasture into a stage where cooperation and balance maintain life in continuous movement. The rivers of the Pantanal are the true arteries of this monumental ecosystem, responsible for bringing life to every corner of this immense floodplain. During floods, they overflow, slowly flooding fields and forests and creating one of the largest and richest aquatic systems on the planet. They form far beyond their own banks in the high regions of the Central Plateau, where tributaries are born and slowly descend toward the Pantanal Plain. Upon reaching the almost flat terrain, these waters lose speed, expand and overflow, creating bays and flooded fields that connect like a large living system. It is this annual pulse of floods that defines the dynamics of the Pantanal, transforming rivers into open veins that distribute nutrients, sediments, and life throughout the region. Within these calm waters, diverse and highly adapted aquatic vegetation flourishes. The water hyacinth stands out as one of the most common species, forming extensive floating carpets that serve as refuge and breeding grounds for fish and invertebrates. The Victoria amazonica occupies calmer areas with giant leaves floating on the surface, while the water poppy and water lettuce complete this floating scenery. Below the surface, plants like kabomba and elodea oxygenate the water and sustain the base of the aquatic food chain. On the banks, razorgrass and other flood-adapted grasses stabilize the soil and offer food to herbivores. In the Pantanal, rivers and aquatic plants do not exist separately. Together they form the structure that sustains one of the richest and most dynamic ecosystems on the planet. Hundreds of fish species live in these waters, such as dorados, sarubins, pacas, jaus, and piranhas, which sustain the entire food chain from fish-eating birds to large terrestrial predators. The aquatic life of the Pantanal is not limited to fish. Caymans dominate the banks, otters and piranhas patrol the rivers in organized groups, while amphibians, crustaceans and invertebrates multiply with the arrival of the waters. Each flood cycle works as a rebirth, spreading nutrients, ensuring massive reproduction, and maintaining the abundance that sustains birds, reptiles, and mammals. In the Pantanal, rivers are not just waterways. They are the force that regulates time, defines the rhythm of life, and transforms this biome into one of the greatest aquatic sanctuaries on Earth. The rivers of the Pantanal house some of the most fascinating fish in South America, each playing an essential role in the dynamics of this extraordinary aquatic ecosystem. The Dorado stands out as the great predator of the waters, known for its explosive strength and impressive speed, symbolizing the energy of the Pantanal rivers. The Surubí, also called pintado, is a nocturnal hunter, renowned for its elongated body and the dark spots that guarantee it perfect camouflage on the river bottom. The pacu represents the link between water and forest, feeding on fruits and seeds that fall from trees during floods, becoming one of the main dispersers of riparian vegetation. The jayu, one of the largest freshwater fish in Brazil, impresses with its size and strength, living in the deepest and quietest parts of the rivers. Piranhas, often misunderstood, stand out for their sharp teeth and their fundamental role in environmental balance, acting as true natural cleaners. Together, these fish form the base of aquatic life in the Pantanal, sustaining birds, reptiles and mammals, and transforming every river into a living stage where strength, adaptation and abundance follow the eternal rhythm of the waters. Among the fish of the Pantanal, few arouse as much respect as the piranha, one of the most feared predators of the region's rivers and bays. Small in size but immense in efficiency, it possesses an extremely powerful bite relative to its body, capable of ripping off chunks of meat with a single quick movement. Its jaws house between 30 and 40 triangular teeth, sharp as razor blades and perfectly interlocked, forming a true natural pair of scissors that is renewed throughout its life. The piranha hunts fish, amphibians, waterfowl, and even mammals that enter the water injured or weakened, often acting in groups, which increases its efficiency. Despite its aggressive reputation, it also feeds on carrion, playing a fundamental role as a river cleaner, preventing the proliferation of diseases. Attacks on humans are rare and are generally related to extreme droughts when space and food diminish. In the rivers of the Pantanal, where water can become murky, warm and poor in oxygen, the piranha reveals one of the most impressive adaptations of aquatic life. During droughts, when lagoons become isolated and oxygen levels drop drastically, many fish do not survive, but piranhas remain active. They possess an extremely efficient metabolism and gills capable of extracting oxygen even in very low concentrations, allowing them to survive in almost suffocating environments. In addition, they reduce energy expenditure, become less active, and concentrate in areas where water still circulates minimally. This resilience explains why in shallow puddles and almost stagnant rivers, piranhas continue to dominate the environment when others have already disappeared. The strength of piranhas lies not only in their sharp teeth, but in the collective strategy that transforms small fish into highly efficient hunters. By hunting in groups, they create an intimidation and confusion effect, surrounding the prey and attacking quickly and in a coordinated manner, giving it no time to react. This behavior drastically increases the chances of success, allowing them to face larger injured or weakened animals that they could hardly overpower individually. Each bite is precise and cumulative, and within seconds, the prey loses mobility, becoming vulnerable to the continuous attack of the school. In addition to active hunting, this collective action also serves as a defense mechanism, keeping other predators away and ensuring access to food in critical periods such as droughts. In the Pantanal group, hunting makes piranhas survival strategists, demonstrating that in nature, unity can be as lethal as individual strength. Although the Pantanal is still recognized as one of the largest and best preserved biomes in Latin America, especially in Brazil, it faces growing environmental pressure that threatens its natural balance. This ecosystem, shaped by extreme cycles of flooding and drought, has always coexisted with challenges imposed by nature itself, such as prolonged periods of lack of rain, intense floods, and severe climatic variations. However, in recent years, these natural factors have begun to combine with impacts caused by human action, drastically increasing environmental damage. The alteration of the water regime, deforestation in nearby areas, and inappropriate land use directly affect the hydrological pulse of the Pantanal, compromising habitats, wildlife migration routes, and food availability. Even with its resilient appearance, the biome shows clear signs of vulnerability in the face of these accelerated transformations. Among the most visible problems are recent fires that have affected extensive areas of the Pantanal and caused severe losses of vegetation, fauna, and soil quality. During periods of extreme drought, fire spreads rapidly, destroying natural refuges and causing direct mortality of wild animals. At the same time, agricultural expansion has resulted in the gradual loss of natural territory, with areas converted into pastures and destined for productive activities. This advance reduces connectivity between habitats, fragments the ecosystem, and puts pressure on species that depend on large continuous expanses to survive. The combination of fire, territory loss, and alterations in the water cycle transforms the Pantanal into an increasingly exposed biome, where preserving the natural balance becomes a constant challenge in the face of ongoing environmental changes. Despite ongoing concerns about this natural sanctuary, the latest data is encouraging. In 2025, the Pantanal recorded a historic reduction in the area affected by fires compared to previous years, reflecting both less severe weather conditions and firefighting and prevention efforts. According to official data from the Fire Monitor and the Brazilian Ministry of the Environment, in the first half of 2025, about 331,120 acres of the Pantanal were burned, representing a drop of almost 98% compared to the same period in 2024, when more than 1,499,930 acres were affected by fire. In addition, in January 2025, approximately 26,749 acres burned were recorded in the biome, a much lower value than in the critical months of previous years. These figures indicate that 2025 was on track to be one of the years with the smallest extent of burned areas in the Pantanal in decades, the result of coordinated prevention and response actions, as well as environmental conditions that helped mitigate the spread of fires. Despite this significant improvement, every acre affected still represents a loss of habitat, an impact on fauna, and a risk to traditional communities and sensitive ecosystems, reminding us that the threat of fires remains permanent and requires constant vigilance. Despite all the challenges that threaten the Pantanal today, fires, territory loss, changes in the water regime, and human pressures, this monumental biome continues to resist. Pantanal fauna and flora persist as true aquatic warriors, shaped by an environment where nothing is static and everything depends on the timing of the water. In every flood, life expands, connects, and multiplies. In every drought, it resists, adapts, and awaits the return of the waters. This eternal cycle of loss and renewal keeps the Pantanal alive, beating like a wild heart of Latin America.